Rodolfo Borrell 4 months ago in May mentioned that the goal is to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Do you still believe that's a possibility?
I think you mentioned at the beginning of the year. I think that's, we started out the whole season saying the goal is to make the playoffs, knowing that we had a very, very limited roster. I don't think there's, you can't set the expectations much higher than that. The hope is to make the playoffs, and mathematically, yes, we still have a chance to make it. But it was always going to be a challenge. Ownership knows that. Rodolfo knew that. We started with 16 field players, and 3 or 4 of them came to us in February. So it's challenging. It's beyond challenging. But the whole idea from the beginning of the year was to try to get these guys in a place at the end of the year, and we were. I think we've missed many, many opportunities to grab points and now be on the inside looking out, and instead we're on the outside looking in. So we knew it was going to be challenging. Again, it was the strategy that we approached the season with Rodolfo and ownership with having an opportunity to grab players in the summer. It meant we're going to have a very limited, light roster, and it's affected us throughout the entire season. But me as a coach and our staff, all we can do is try to prepare the players that we have and get them into space. And now hopefully when the new players arrive that we're in position and conditions to make the playoffs. That was, I think, there. And, the amount of missed opportunities since Leagues Cup and since those guys arrived, again, I think the soccer that we've been playing at both ends of the field have been very, very good. But when you miss this many opportunities, it's damaging to your ability to win games.
It would be amazing that y'all make it to the playoffs. I mean, come on, everybody here is cheering and hope that y'all can make it. Have y'all analyzed or see the future plans that maybe if that doesn't happen, when it can happen to you guys, and how you can execute the plan if that doesn't happen?
No, I think that's a question for Rodolfo.
So no for you as a coach.
If we don't make the playoffs?
Yes, sir.
Well, no, I think it's a Rodolfo question.
Okay. So not as a coach, a perspective as a coach, what do you think that you can give to your team to make that happen the next year? Because there is always a next year.
Yeah, I think you need to continue to add players. I think that's what you see. We've had some extreme expectations based off a 2022 season, and we didn't enhance our roster. We did not get better over time. And this was the first transfer window that we brought in players. And you can see what an incredible impact that just those 2 players had. Those are the first 2 international players outside of Biro in the offseason that we brought in. And that's what you have to do in this league. You have to stay aggressive. You have to keep enhancing your roster. You have to move guys on, bring new faces in to add freshness and add different qualities, and add leadership, add personality, whatever the group kind of needs. But it also creates urgency and takes away any opportunities for complacency. And this has been a challenge. One, just from the number standpoint of what we had at the beginning of the year. That was the extreme. I've been in this league since 1998. We had more players in '98 on a roster than we had this year, and that makes it really challenging.
Coming back to your same words, you say you need to add players.
Sure.
You were in charge of this team in 2023 to add players. How can you evaluate yourself, and how did you do it back in there compared to now that you're not?
Yeah, I was not in a position to add players, and nor was the club in a position to add players. When we lost Claudio Reyna, you mean?
Correct.
Yeah, no, we had Sean Rubio and myself, but my job was to coach and obviously help out on that side of it, but there was no adding players at that point. There wasn't space to add it. There were some decisions from the organization. We also wanted to wait till we had a sport director, which came later in that summer, and we made no additions in the summer.
Correct.
And very few in the winter.
Correct.
So now we left with the summer this time around, and we added players, and it's helped out tremendously. And I think that's when you see the best teams in the league and the teams that have sustained success. Each transfer window, they are burning and churning through their roster, selling and capitalizing on players, as well as signing players that they believe will stay at the club for a long time. But that's the space that you have to work in. It's having success is one thing, sustaining it is another. You need to stay aggressive and continue evaluating your roster.
So pretty much not only adding the players, but also be able to maintain the level. That's what you're telling me. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think I think after 21 we saw some gaps in our roster. So in the off season of 21, when free agency opened and the re-entry draft opened and you were grabbing players from abroad, those are 3 buckets that you try to add players, and we did a really, really good job. So we came into the 2022 season with a very robust roster, depth and quality, depth and personality and character inside the locker room, and that's the success. From there has been just a fall off of players with very few additions, and it makes it challenging. I think that's the long and the short of it. But having said that, we've been in position each season, to at the end of the year to be able to get in the playoffs. We still have to fulfill that. responsibility. Even as challenging as this year was, coming through Leagues Cup, I liked where our guys were at. We got the couple internationals. We performed really well against good opponents. Leagues Cup, we played well against Nashville, grabbing points. Vancouver was a little bit of a letdown, but again, the last 5-6 games, from an offensive standpoint, the shot creation, the expected goals has been well in advance of what it was throughout the beginning part of the year, and that's because you add quality, and that's a direct link to that. And the defensive side has been equally strong when you add a Mikel and Zvati's just got here, but when you have a full complement of a back line, it helps. It goes a long way.
Goals and chances missed. I keep hearing from you
Sure.
that you're the coach, you're the lead of them. And you used to play, and you used to be great shooting. How can you, from you perspective as a leader, how can you help them out to just unlock what it's happening and make sure that they're actually doing those results that you're needing?
There's only so much you can do. I mean, we can help them build in these ideas and the content of what we want from box to box, but when you're in front of goal, I can't have a guy make the right touch or the right decision, we can train those things, which is what I try to do and what we as a staff try to do. We rehearse a lot of offensive ideas, a lot of offensive movements that revolve around principles, so that there's coordinated ideas to result in coordinated actions. And finalizing, you can go look at a lot of these chances, and if a player is in position where it's difficult to score, are there other people in better positions? So it's a decision. Can you find the open guy? And there's those faults. You're in on a breakaway, and it's a matter of finishing, not shooting. Can we take those opportunities? So much has to do with, again, are you making the right decision, and are you executing it at a good level? And if you make a poor decision, it doesn't mean you can't score, but the execution has to be in a supreme way. And there's lots of things that we can talk about. Ultimately, for players, they have to, for them, the validation only comes from scoring goals and winning games. It's just the reality of sport, and I imagine most sports are like that. We can talk about the process, and I do as a coach, and that's what we try to do in order to maintain, again, the level of confidence and continuity and keep our ideas coming to life on the field. But for players, validation of what we do comes in goals and winning, and it's our job to keep them focused on all the other things, which they have been. To your point, the spirit of the group, the continuity of the group, the competitiveness of the group has been quite good.